talk to me, what is your new book about? Talk to me about it.
Oh my gosh. So Olympic Pride, American Prejudice is about 18 African Americans who defied Hitler and Jim Crow during the 1936 Olympics. And, most people know about Jesse Owens, but this is the story of 18 African Americans, Jesse and his 17 teammates. That included 2 Black women, Tidie Pickett and Louise Stokes. And what's really extraordinary is they all did a great job, and they did an important job in tearing down preconceived notions about African Americans and dispelling horrific misconceptions on race and class and Aryan supremacy. So these 18 men and women did that both in the United States and in Germany, and they ushered in a new way to approach equality and a new way to fight for their rights to be an American, because they wore USA on their backs, but they weren't treated like full citizens. So this afforded them the opportunity to be treated like full citizens. Though it did not happen for them, we know eventually African Americans in sports would be respected and be regarded as significant and important. But this is the moment, that pivotal moment, that the world could see African Americans on the world stage. And 2 Black women were there. And though we don't know their names, they're the hidden figures of sports. This book and the documentary that I wrote and directed prior to the book helps us understand their roles and their stories and why we should know them and respect what they did.
And you mentioned, some of the African American athletes. Can you talk to me about some more of them?
Absolutely. So on this team in 1936, Mac Robinson was on this team. He was Jackie Robinson's older brother. So 10 years before Jackie broke the color barrier, Mac Robinson played a role in tearing down the color ceiling in Germany and in America. So he needs to be recognized for that. And also, you can imagine he served as a role model for his little brother, Jackie Robinson, as well. Additionally, you had Archie Williams, who, before he became a Tuskegee Airman, won a gold medal in the 400 at the Berlin Olympics in 1936. And he also was an A student at Berkeley, UC Berkeley. And Dr. Jimmy LaValle was also on that team. He won a bronze medal and would go on to be one of the first African-American chemists for Kodak. He had a PhD from Caltech. And Ralph Metcalfe, also on the team, 2 medals. He would go on to be Congressman Ralph Metcalfe from Illinois, and he would write the resolution for Black History Month and be a co-founder of the Congressional Black Caucus. So this contingent of African-American men and women, incredible, exemplary. They are the type of role models, they have the type of stories of courage and of being first and of challenging stereotypes and breaking down walls and barriers. So I wanted to make sure that they were remembered, because we all love sports, but we need to understand that these 18 African Americans served us well, and they were not served well.
And tell me, why is this story, why is it so important right now?
Well, it's critically important because as we look at our role as African Americans, we still continue to fight for equality. We still continue to have our voices heard and our stories told. And because we don't know all of our history, we can't always validate our fight with facts and figures. So we don't have to fight for the opportunity to say, I have a right to voice my opinion. There's lots of debate and lots of back and forth about Colin Kaepernick in the NFL and taking a knee. And what we really don't debate is this whole debate was already handled back in 1936. So we need to substantiate the reasons we do things with the facts and figures and the heroes that have already made that sacrifice. So we don't keep sacrificing the same thing over and over, and we don't keep fighting the same fight over and over, that we're able to intelligently and articulate our history and demonstrate that we've already done this and we don't intend to do it again.
And even though the Olympics are canceled, what impact do you hope that this book will have?
Well, I truly hope that people who read the book will understand the pageantry of the Olympics and be transported to Berlin in 1936. And this Olympics was critically important. It was the first time it was televised. It was the first time it had a torch run. It was the first time it had opening ceremonies. And of course, they will get to witness the trials and be transported to the games themselves and the competition, the agony, and the defeat of these 18 African Americans who took a 10-day boat ride from the United States to the Third Reich as African American athletes and participated and competed under scores of swastikas flying and how Hitler's being chanted. So that was the environment in which they competed.
And was there a story that stood out to you?
Oh my gosh, Tidy and Louise were the stories that stood out to me. You had two young, very, very, very young women traveling to Berlin alone, no coach, no chaperone, no parents. They were the only two Black women on this boat of 400 people.